Hi everybody, this is Algebra 2 Lesson 39, and this lesson covers difference of two squares, parallelogram proof, and rhombuses. Alright, first off, difference of two squares. Alright, so it asks us to solve this by factoring. Now this is a special kind of problem that we can only factor if we recognize it as what it is. So it's called a difference of two squares. And if we look at this, we have a square right here. 4 is a square number. X squared, that square. And 9 is a square. So we just take the square root of both sides. So if we take the square root of 2, the square root of 4 is 2. The square root of x squared would be x. And the square root of 9 would be 3. And we do that twice, right? One is going to be with a plus in the middle, one's with a minus. Okay, the easiest way to show you how this works is just to go backwards. So 2x minus 3 times 2x plus 3. Okay, so then we're just going to rainbow this. That would be 4x squared. Then we get plus 6x. Then right here we would get minus 6x. See how those two are going to cancel each other out? And then we get minus 9, right? These cancel, and we get 4x squared minus 9, right? So that's why we have to have one positive and one negative. That's why we call it a difference of two squares. We're doing a positive and a negative. So those two, it's a difference of two squares. We're subtracting, okay? Those two cancel each other out in the middle, and then you're left with the rest. And there's no way to factor this other than knowing that that's a difference of two squares, and those two are going to cancel each other. All right, let's try another one. So on this one, all we have to do, these are really easy once you know what it is. We've got 81m squared minus 25. This one asks us to solve by factoring. Hang on, maybe I was supposed to factor that other one. Let me see. Okay, yes, I do need to factor that other one. So that means that I have got, once I've got it down into factors, then I have to set those are equal to 0, right? Because that equals 0. That means this equals 0. So I can say 2x minus 3 equals 0. And then I would do plus 3, and I get 2x equals 3, divide by 2, and I get x equals 3 over 2. You can probably guess what the other one's going to be. I'm going to do 2x plus 3 equals 0. Now I'm going to do minus 3. Those cancel. And I'm going to get 2x equals negative 3. Divide by 2. X equals negative 3 over 2, right? So one's going to give us a positive and the other one's going to give us a negative. And that's how you factor that. Okay, this one says solve by factoring. So I'm going to look at this and we're going to see I've got a square. 81's a square because of 9 times 9, right? So 9. And then the square root of m squared would be m. And then I've got 25. The square root of that would be 5. So I've got minus 5. And then we have to do it again, but positive. 9m plus 5, right? And if I rainbow that back out, right, I go like this. 9 times 9 is 81 m squared. And then I go 9 times 5 is 45 m. And then I go here. It's going to be negative 45 m. And then 5 times 5 is negative 45. And then these two in the center cancel each other out. And I get 81m squared minus 45. See? No, 25, whoopsie. 25, 5 times 5 is 25. And it brings us back to what we started with. So we know that's right. Now that's equal to 0. So we have to set each of these equals to 0. Equals 0. Plus 5, plus 5. We're going to get 9m equals 5. And then we divide by 9. And we get m equals 5 over 9. We did this one. We're going to do minus 5. 9m equals negative 5. Divide by 9, divide by 9. So it's always going to come out where one's positive and one's negative. All right, so that would be your answer. Both of those, you have to have a positive one and a negative 1. All right, parallelogram. A parallelogram is a quadrilateral that has two pairs of parallel sides. So there's some facts that we can look at a parallelogram and see here. So opposite sides have equal measure. So that one and that one are going to be equal to each other because they're parallel, right? So that equals that. And then it's also, we would see that that one and that one are equal because they're parallel. Okay. Opposite angles have equal measure. So this angle is opposite that angle. They're going to have equal measure, right? And then this angle is opposite that angle, so they're going to have equal measure. The sum of the measures of any two consecutive angles is 180. So if I added D plus C, I would have to get 180. The diagonals bisect each other. That means cut each other in half. So that means that this is equal to that, and this one is equal to this one, right? Because it cuts each other directly in half. All right, a rhombus is a parallelogram that has three additional properties. The four sides have equal length. So that means that all of these sides are equal to each other. There, and there, and there, and there are all equal. The diagonals bisect the angles. That means that this line right here cuts this angle directly in half. So that is equal to that. A and X are going to be equal to each other. K and B are going to be equal to each other. Right? That's the same as that one over there. For K and B, I'll make those be green. Let me just erase that. There we go. All right. The diagonals are perpendicular bisectors of each other. All right, perpendicular means they meet with a square corner. So that would be a square corner. I know my diagram's not exactly perfect, and they cut each other in half exactly. So perpendicular means they meet each other with a square corner. Bisectors means cut each other in half. So that's equal to that. And that is equal to that. Now, since all of these are the same, no, that one is going to be shorter than that longer one. All right, so it says DEFG is a rhombus. The measure of the reflex angle is 280. That means that this D angle right here goes around. This is 280 degrees. Find A, X, B, K, and C. All right, so we have to find A equals X equals B equals K equals and C. Okay, so those are all the ones we have to find. All right, so we know if this is 280 all the way around, what's going to be left inside of there? So it's 360 in a circle, so we just need 360 minus this 280. So that would be 8 and 8 is 1680. 80 degrees. Okay, so that means all the way from here to here is 80 degrees. If that bisector cuts it directly in half, that means that that's going to be 40, and that one's going to be 40. So A and X both equal 40. All right, then we have to find B and K. Let's see if both of those are 40. That consecutive angles equal 180. So this one plus this one, right, are going to equal 180. Angle D, all the way from there to there, and angle G have to equal 180. So I can say 180 minus 80 would be 100, right, because angle D is 80. So that means that this angle G is going to be 100, And half of that would be B, so that'll be 50. And K would also be 50. That means that also that these angles have to be 90. So if I had 50 and 40, that's 90. Plus this square corner right here would make another 90. 90 and 90 is 180. So that's another way to figure that. So B is 50. And K is 50. And then we need C. Where is, oh, C is 90. All the center ones are 90 because they're perpendicular bisectors. Double check all that. Yep. All right. So that's pretty easy once you understand how all those angles relate to each other. I think that's the last example that we have. Yep. Go ahead and solve those practice problems and then replay the video. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video to work the practice problems. I'll go ahead and work them for you. So we're going to start with A. All right, so A says solve 144 s squared minus 36 equals 0. And we're supposed to solve by factoring. So I'm going to have two of these. And I'm going to find my square root of 144, which is 12s. And then my square root of 36, which is 6. And then I do the same thing over here, 12s, but I do plus 6, and that equals 0. So I've got 12s minus 6 equals 0. So I'm going to say plus 6 on both sides, and I'm going to get 12s equals 6. And then I'm going to divide by 12, and I'm going to get s equals 1/2. And then I'm going to do for the other side, it's just going to come out as negative 1/2. 12s plus 6 equals 0, minus 6 minus 6. 12s equals negative 6, divide by 12. And I'm going to get s equals negative 1/2. So you should have got positive 1/2 and negative 1/2. All right, B has 121 m squared minus 64 equals 0. So I'm just going to find square root of 121, which is 11. Square root of m squared is m. And then minus 8 times 8 is 64, so that'd be 8. And then I'm going to do that again with the positive in there. So 11m plus 8 equals 0. So that means I've got 11m plus 8 equals 0. Do minus 8 minus 8. 11m equals negative 8. Divide by 11. So I'm going to get negative 8 over 11. And then I would get positive 8 over 11. That's the answer to that one. So there's that first one. Alright, and you can actually write those as plus or minus 8 over 11. That just kind of says it's both. Alright, and then C has a diagram that I'm going to have to try to draw here. So I've got that, and I've got that, and then I've got a line going like that. Oh, that's terrible. Alright, let me start that over. There we go. Not too bad. Okay, and then our bisectors like so. Alright, and this is N, O, P, M, and our M is our reflex angle of 306. And I've got X and B and Z up here and A. And it asked me to find X, A, and Z. So X, A, and Z. Okay. Alright, so if my reflex angle is 306, I'm going to say 360 minus 306, because it's 360 for a complete circle. Alright, so that would be 54. And then I'm going to divide 54 by 2, which would be half of 50 is 25, half of 4 is 2, 27. So that means that both of these would be 27. Okay, so x is 27. Then a, alright, so if I know that this angle, which is 54, right, so all the way across there is 54, plus this angle P right here all the way across there would be 180. I can say 180 minus 54, which would be 10 minus 4 is 6, 8 minus 5 is 3, 136. And then if I cut that in half, that'll give me A. So 136 divided by 2, I would have 6 times 2 is 12. 116 divided by 2 is 8. That'd be 68 for A. And then Z is easy. All of these in the center are going to be square corners, so that would be 90. I can double check by doing 27, because, okay, if this A right here is 136, that means this angle right here is 136. And then I know the two angles of my triangle. If I added my 27 and, no, that would be 68. I was about to say, that's not going to work. $68, 27. I don't know if that's going to work either. 5 divided by that'd be 2, that'd be 4, 1, 14. That is 27. All right, let me look at the answer P, because that should be 90 over there. Those should equal 90, and they do not. So we got some kind of a problem. Fudge something somewhere. It's probably my terrible diagram. All right, this is 40. No, this is less than 39. 27, 63, and 90. Oh, it's 63, not 68. That's where I got it wrong. 63. Okay, how do we get 63? My 27 is right. 180 minus 54. Oh, it's 126. There we go. 6, and then that would be 3. Yep, 63. All right, anyways, there's the answer. You guys can use a calculator on all this math. All right, that is it for lesson 39. Thanks for watching.